Bryan Braddock with SC Keys, where we're transforming real estate one key at a time. I'm here with my good buddy, Rodney Berry, and I tell you, God connected us at the hip. You're talking about, they're soulmates, and my wife is my soulmate, just for those if you had any questions about that.
And I'm not competing.
That's right, yeah. And then there's running buddies. There's those people. The Bible says that there's a man that sticketh closer than a brother. And that is really the relationship I've found with Rodney. We've shared some victories together. We've shared some defeats together. Rodney's a little bit ahead of the game than me politically. He was the mayor of Marion. When was that? What was the...
So that was back in 2009. Just a quick little blip about that, Brian, that most people don't know. The former mayor, which was the legend Bobby Gerald, he was mayor there for like 28 years. He passed 2 weeks before the election, so we had to do a write-in candidacy. And so the community rallied, and we had a write-in candidacy in Marion, South Carolina, won by, I think, 78%.
So I never knew that.
Yeah, most people don't.
So you share political history with Strom Thurmond.
So I've been told.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, South Carolina long-term Senator Strom Thurmond, who I think was like 98 years old when he passed away, he had been a senator that long, he won by write-in ballot.
That's right.
His first election to become senator. So, well, man, I never knew that part of the story. Here, I'm learning something new every day.
One distinct difference. I had my last child at 29. My first and only child.
Yeah, I think he has lasted like 70-something. Yeah, and I'm not going to do a spoiler. Y'all have to go to the State House grounds to see it. But he's got his monument there on the State House grounds, and there's something very unique about it. And there's a name that's added to a bunch of other names, and that was his daughter.
Okay, wow, yeah.
I guess that is spoiler, but you still want to see it, yeah. So Rodney, what we're talking about is public-private partnerships, and Rodney has been mayor of a municipality, Marion, city of Marion. You've been what politically was mayor? Was that the one thing that you did?
Yeah, so
elected in terms of an elected official.
In terms of election, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
and then we shared a similar role. Now Rodney did it better. He was the what was your title under Congressman Tom Rice?
So it started off, Tom wanted an economic developer, and I was fortunate enough to get in that spot. And then, I was county administrator in Dillon for a little while, and then went back to Tom as his district director, kind of running the show. So.
Yeah, so I wasn't in that role. So I was the economic development director for our current Congressman Russell Fry. Both of us were in District 7, so we were in the same area. But Rodney did an amazing job. I remember when I would call Rodney, he answered the phone every time. And I don't know how he did it, but he did it. But you bring a wealth of knowledge to economic development because you've been an elected official as the mayor of Marion. You've been the county administrator for Marion as well. For Dillon. County administrator is not an elected position, but it is a higher position, but it's one of the catalyst leadership positions in a county. And then he served as the economic development director on the federal level with Congressman Tom Rice, and then his district director. So, Rodney, you've seen how economic development has played a huge role from a federal level, from a local municipality, city level, from a county level. And we're talking specifically about what are the tools in the bag for economic development?
Yeah, they do change from time to time, but they are available on all levels, as you know. Not as many on the local level. Your hands are somewhat tied with a municipality. County, on the other hand, has a great deal of say in incentivizing by way of special source revenue credits, things of that nature. Whenever you get a project that you really want to land, you do that a little extra for. So the county has the ability to do the special source credit revenues. The counties are the link to the state commerce department. That's the funnel which all monies are transferred. So if you've got a real good project meeting certain criteria, usually employments, investment are the drivers of that. When you got one that meets the thresholds, then the state coffers open up for incentives as well. So we drive hard on that. Then turning to the federal. Most of those are by way of state money that's funneled through the state, but there's some direct money you can go after, be it EDA, which is federal.
Economic Development
That's
Administration.
right.
Yep.
I'll try to remember not to use acronyms.
No, that's all right. We're going to do a little cheat sheet, a little Economic Development 101 terms of the trade, and we'll have that on the podcast as well. FELO, EDA, fee and lieu, a lot of different things like that out there. And one thing that's often misunderstood amongst the general public is when they see incentives go out for businesses coming in, they're like, why are we given any type of incentive? Well, what you're doing is a lot of times these businesses, these industries are taking a risk, and you're looking to mitigate the risk. Because you want them to come in because of the job development that will come, higher wage jobs. And any time that a municipality or a state incentivizes, they incentivize what they want. So if you want industry to come in, that's what you incentivize. If you want jobs, you incentivize jobs. If you want warehouse space, then you incentivize that. Before we get into what you got me into, which is the Dillon County Airport, I'm either going to love him or hate him here in a while. I might be living with him because I'll be homeless. But talk about what has been one example of what's been your best example of a PPP, a public-private partnership, that came about, how it came about, and then the impact of it.
Yeah, so they're absolutely necessary. If you don't utilize those in your county, you're well behind the game. Uh, they just add so much value in so many ways. Tangible money. You're able to raise quite a bit of money to offset some of the county's expenses and incentivizing. And again, with county money, there's a great deal of scrutiny, as well as there should be, because it's taxpayers' money.
Right, yeah.
So there's
the tax
audits.
dollars are coming out of the pockets of the people that are there.
That's right. And so, the more strict audits, you have a little bit more flexibility with a private-public partnership. Certainly we get audits as well, but there's way more flexibility in how you spend that money.
Because it's not all taxpayer
That's
dollars.
right.
There's private dollars.
No, in fact, it's all private dollars. The way we operate in Dillon with our AKA DCP3. But, several people do it well. Florence County over there, y'all do it as well as anybody. Horry County does a tremendous job. But that's that extra benefit that you have to maybe drive a project over the goal line. It's an absolute necessity. And then you see the board members. Probably several faces went through your mind as it pertains to Florence County. Usually you put your best of the best on there. People equipped with knowledge.
They're ambassadors for the community, right?
Couldn't have put it better. They're absolutely ambassadors, but they bring to the table just a wealth of information. You mix that with some of the young gun generations, and you got a powerful, powerful entity. We've done that in Dillon. We've got it off the ground about 2.5 years ago. We've raised some money, but the board, and you've been in some of those board meetings, but the board is, I learned something in every monthly meeting. So you're operating in a deficit if you don't have a public-private partnership.
And so what is an example of where it's worked well, like and I know, you might have some going on now, but one that's passed, one that's already happened, maybe in Dillon, like Harbor Freight, was that a public-private partnership, or did you have any in Marion that you could kind of allude to?
No, as it pertains to being directly involved with that. Now, some people do develop public-private partnerships. I've got a project now that's entertaining Dillon County, and they need a public-private partnership to chase some other tax credits. And so they're likely to form one. I would probably be on that board, but that's a little bit new to me, quite frankly. The realms that I've dealt in has been strictly your normal public-private partnership. So I'm looking forward to learning, still learning as we go, Bryan.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking
forward.
Well,
and it changes. It's an ever-evolving world.
And it's got to be, because the projects are evolving as well.
So this podcast, One Key at a Time, is geared to the new investor, but there will be some seasoned investors too that have done flips, they've done developments, but they've never crossed that bridge of working with a local municipality, state government, whatnot. If you are a developer, if you're a private investor, what's the first step for you to to start to try to work with a municipality, to form a partnership and to bring a new resource, new business, new industry to an area.
Certainly. So let's talk county because that's what I'm most familiar with, and all those same principles would apply to municipality as well. Contact the economic developer because that's again the conduit with the state of South Carolina, which where you'll get most of your synergies, assuming that you meet all the criteria. So that economic developer is the first and foremost person that you go to. From
And pretty
there,
much every county
every county has one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dillon here, we're a little bit different. They contract me out, but I'm for every intents and purposes of full time. I'm here every day, because it's that important. And I grew up here, so it's
Right. Oh yeah, you're
it's
hometown proud.
so I'm passionate about this place. But it all starts and ends with that economic developer. From there, that's kind of your coach that'll call audibles and connect you with all these different entities, zoning, just on and on. It starts with
Yeah,
economic development.
because learning how to navigate zoning, planning, infrastructure, water, sewer, those things that municipalities, uh, like mayors, we were talking to Mayor Ingram earlier, mayors are there to govern and rule the parks and fire and police and those types of things. They need a partner that can speak the business language, but those business people need a partner that can speak that municipal language, and you speak both. You're bilingual, trilingual, whatnot. So now I got to get the whole reason that we're doing this airport deal, Project Runway, Project Zip, is because, and I don't know why Rodney called me, but he calls me about 3 days before this sealed bid package deal was about to come to end. Says, "Hey Bryan, we got an airport, we're selling it. Anybody interested?" And I already told y'all what I was thinking. FAA. That there'd be some type of environmental hoops and all that stuff. But so when I brought the idea. He might give me some insight, I don't know. When I brought the idea of using that runway for a housing development, because Dillon has not had a lot of housing growth.
Right.
Really at the bottom, and people don't like to speculate with housing. They pretty much look at where houses are being built and then they go there. But when I brought that idea to you and you took it to folks, what was the initial response?
So it was, people were very excited about it. One of the things that I've really harped on, and especially in small rural South Carolina, Florence don't experience this, Horry County, we're nestled in between. But, the census shows every year that we're declining in population, and that is something that should alert everyone for countless reasons. But number one, the whole point of economic development is to drive your tax base up without turning it over to the citizens to pay for it.
Right.
That's what a house does. I mean, economic development does it, but housing does it. When you tax the house and the 2.5 cars that's in there, that's how we come up with our revenue. And the fact that we were declining, in census with our population really alerted me. So one of our focus quickly became housing and trying to partner with a developer to make this happen. And it's good for everybody. So I'm extremely excited when you kind of hinted to me that you were going to kind of dabble in that field. So and we remain excited.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I ran a homeless shelter for years. I know the value of affordable housing, attainable housing. Man, we got a great opportunity there to have 200 to 300 homes, private gated, community with amenities, with some recreation areas, and whatnot. Really synergize on the Dillon Motor Speedway, Bass Lake RV Park. Got the interstate there and all the food stuff. So
Those are all the ingredients of
that's
cooking up
right.
a nice pot of something, isn't it?
That's it. All we need is money, And hey, someone told me, man, like a bass on one of them long, rebels or a nice little worm. I gobbled it all the way down. They said, "Bryan, you don't need money in real estate." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Because I was trying to get a little nest egg. He said, "If you find the right deal, the money will be there." So if you're an investor and you're like, how do you take on a multi-million-dollar project? Well, there's people looking, and if you can connect the site and you can connect the resources to them, then the money will come. And that's what's happening with this project. I got a couple of developers, one from Salt Lake City, just super outside. Talked to them the other day, super excited about this project, some local people. And this project's going to have some commercial elements, some recreational elements, some housing elements, blend with everything that's already there. And man, right now, I appreciate you calling me. Now that might change, you know. I hope it don't. But I told my wife the other day, she said, "How are we doing, honey?" I said, "We're between homelessness and helicopter rich." But I said, "But listen, baby, I got one thing, you know, that makes me feel good." She says, "What's that?" I said, "Well, people say that in real estate investing that you generally go broke twice before you make it. Well, I'm broke coming in, so I feel like I got one already done, you know, so I only got to go broke one more time and then I'll be good." So I'm coming to the table, you know, and we're
Well,
going to make it
quickly,
happen.
what you said, I've experienced that too. You know, people think money's hard to come by. There's tons of investors ready to invest. The missing link is always the motor, that person that's willing to drive and get it all done. And it's tough to trust somebody to do that. You come with a background of very much trustworthiness, and people know how you work. I think I know how you work more than anybody. You burn it, buddy, and I'm convinced this is going to be a success story.
Well, for me, it's about purpose, you know, and it's about purpose over paper. I get that from my friend No Cash, and you know, I know that people need housing. They need affordable housing. They need opportunity. And one of the biggest things, I love the red, white, and blue, connecting the nation to the world. The Dillon Inland Port here in town. The biggest thing that's keeping people from the American dream is affordable and attainable housing.
Agreed.
You know, so I'm looking forward to partnering with Rodney here on this venture and several more in the future. Rodney, thank you so much for your time, my friend. You know, the next time I interview with you, I'm going to make sure that I dress up a little bit better. You know, you're going to outdo me anyway. So
I'm dressed down today,
oh,
brother.
dressed
I'm
down.
dressed
Come
down
on.
today. I knew you was coming.
Yeah, you're looking good. But hey, Bryan Braddock with SC Keys, transforming property one key at a time with Rodney Berry, talking about economic development, public-private partnerships. Stay tuned, watch this whole thing develop, and we'll be doing a ribbon cutting at some point. Man, we'll be on both sides.
Look forward
Take
to
care,
it.
my friend.
Likewise.
Good to see you.
Yep.